I only know about.
Well, you might be learning a little bit.
I will learn
well.
to.
Yeah,
Because
you can learn it with
I'll ask you questions actually, because I probably don't know much. Because I only found out about that the other day because Laura across the road sent some pictures, and on Friday she wants to have a street party, but obviously where we decorate the path outside the front of our house red, white, and blue.
Yeah, that's right.
75 years since World War II.
Hang on, no, let's just do it. Come on, let's just do it. Yeah. So all we've said so far, I just asked Chris if he knew what VE stood for, and he's told me it stands for Victory in Europe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Victory in Europe. So VE Day is a celebration of the end of World War II. So, could you give me an example of any other things that we celebrate? Well, give me an example of something else that we celebrate, Chris. VIRD. Go on, finish it. AY. Yeah, we celebrate birthdays.
Oh my God, do you know what? Chris, didn't even think of that. I was thinking too deep again then.
Yeah. Anything else that we celebrate, Christopher? Come on, sit forward. Anything else? OCHRIST. After the T, and finish the word. Chris, go on. Yeah, so birthdays and Christmas we celebrate every year. Birthdays, Christmas, we celebrate every year. And some things you celebrate every year, but then every so many years you have like a big celebration. So for example, with birthdays, you had a big celebration last year because you were how old? 20. What? Yeah, you had a big celebration for your 21st birthday.
I've got my 40th next year.
Have you? Oh, so yeah, for birthdays you tend to have a big celebration. Sometimes on your 18th as well, isn't it?
18th, 21st. I think 13 as well, because you go into a teenager sort of.
People seem to make more up all the time, but the big ones really are
18, 21.
18, 21. I mean, often like 40 seems to be a big 60. One. 60. I didn't bother doing anything when I was 60. I let it go quietly.
I don't try to tell people mine.
And then sometimes 80 is a big one. Yeah. And of course 100 is a big one.
I want to live to 100.
So if you live to 100, you know what happens, what you get?
Oh yeah.
An L. Lift your elbow. E. Go on. T. E. Oh, you get a letter. F. R. O. From. Yes, you do. A letter from Major Tom got one recently, didn't he? Colonel Tom, who was in the news. A letter from who? Go on. Do so well. A letter from who? T. H. E. From the. Q. U. All the way up. E. And again. We're just practicing E and a letter from the Queen when you're 100. Yeah. Okay. 100 equals letter from the Queen. Right, but back to VE Day. So this year, it's like an important anniversary of VE Day, and it's 75 years to the end of World War II. 75 years. So now we're 2020. What year would World War II have finished? It would be 2020 minus 75.
Oh my God.
What would that equal?
I could say it. I've just done it in my head.
One. Hang on, you wait, Dawn. Don't be jumping in. Let Chris do it. 1945. Yeah.
Yes, I said yes. That was quick.
1945.
I just,
Come back. Yeah, look, we're making her own way today. We're making her do maths and calculations and all sorts. She didn't know that she was coming online to do this.
no, I don't mind. It teaches me because I should know all this really. Just should.
Yeah.
They're making me live today, ain't they? Really.
That's it. So let's just talk about it just a little bit. So on Monday, the 7th of May in 1945 at 2:41 a.m. in the morning, Germany signed an unconditional surrender document, which meant that the fighting had stopped.
What time was that, sir?
2:41 a.m.
God, in the morning.
There we are. So what does unconditional mean, Chris? Give me another word for unconditional, or just describe it. Unconditional. No. T. Go on. T. E. After the E. You're right. No, T. E. R. M. And no, T. E. R. M. Just touch the S. Go on. That would do. No terms. Yeah, you carry on eating. So no terms. So it means, you know, we're not going to say, well, we'll surrender only if this happens and that happens, and you know, you do this and you do that. It was unconditional, which just meant that they had to give up rights to everything, basically. An unconditional surrender.
I've only really heard of unconditional more as in like unconditional love. Unconditional. So I wouldn't have thought of that. So that
But it's the same.
So I get it there. Yeah.
That's a good one, actually, isn't it, Chris? Unconditional love. When you love someone unconditionally, again, there's no strings or terms attached. I don't care what you like, what you do. I'm going to love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same sort of principle. That's a good example, isn't it? Unconditional love. Yeah. Unconditional love. And how about surrender? I can't think of any other use of the word surrender, really.
I give up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you surrender, give up. Yeah. That's a nice simple way. A nice simple way of saying that you're not going to fight anymore. I like that. So the fighting had stopped. It wasn't until 7:40 p.m. that evening that there was a radio announcement which said that the formal announcement of victory would be made by the Prime Minister the next day. So the formal announcement was going to be made on the 8th of May. Who was the Prime Minister? I know you know this because we have been talking about him. Let me just get you a tissue here. I'll cover it all over you. All over the rest of the world, don't we? Who was the Prime Minister, Chris? He's going to make the announcement. What was his name? Quickly. Go on. Just so Dawn knows, in case she doesn't.
I actually don't, Chris.
Well, that's all right then. It was W. Go on. I-N-S. Wins. Go on. You're doing so well. Yeah, helping Dawn to learn about this so she knows if she's going to have a street party, she needs to know what they're celebrating.
Yeah.
So go on, come on. He's too busy eating the avocado. Come on. WINSTON, Winston, CHU, oh, not W, R, CHUR, CHILL, Winston Churchill.
Okay, so I've heard of that name.
He was our most famous Prime Minister, Dawn.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a bank, something to do with the banks.
No, he was our most famous Prime Minister.
Is he
And
the
he
one?
was inspirational for all of the speeches, particularly that he made during the war. Really getting everyone motivated and helping them to keep going. If you go on YouTube, Christopher and I had started looking at some of his speeches. There's little short clips of them.
Okay.
You might remember, or you might have heard of one of them, which starts off, "We will fight them on the beaches. We will we will never give up." You know, that was the tone of his speeches.
Really, like, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Is he on? This might sound really stupid. Is he on the £10 notes or £20 notes?
Oh, he probably was on. I can't remember which ones he was on them. Yeah. Come back then, Chris. Let me just show. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I opened Dawn to that. Yeah. Come on. There we are. We'll show her a picture on the front of this book. There he is on the front of this book. Winston Churchill. Come on then, Chris.
You forget sometimes that they are actually human beings and they are normal people, don't you? I always see them as something completely like not normal, but they are, aren't they?
Yeah. What are you doing walking off there? Come on. Bit unsettled. All right. What are you going to do? Come on, let's just carry on. We'll just do this quickly and then we can have a chat with Dawn about some other stuff. Okay, so there was this radio announcement saying that Winston Churchill was going to make the formal announcement the next day on the 8th of May, and he announced that the 8th of May would be a holiday. Right, so this year, Chris? Chris, come back. Come on, darling. It's a bit out of sorts at the moment, Dawn.
I see Stuart put on the Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like that today, to be fair.
Yeah.
You're just a bit like,
So look, so here we go. So he announced that the 8th of May 1945 was going to be a holiday, and this year, the 8th of May 2020, is going to be a bank holiday.
That's why it's going to be bank holiday then.
Yeah. Normally, our bank holiday at the beginning of the May is on a Monday, but this year they've changed it especially to the Friday, just because of this. So it is what do they call it? What type of holiday? They call it a bank holiday. Why do they call it a bank holiday? Only because the banks normally stay open all days, but this was a day where even the banks would close, so it's an important holiday. Banks closed. And there was major celebrations in all of the city centres, and the celebrations started even before the formal announcement. People just started gathering. Look at that one. I'll show you. Yeah, that's a picture of Trafalgar Square in London. Look at all of the people there. All right, can you see? How many people do you think there would be there? Any idea? T H. Go on, keep it going. O U S A N, and yes, you're right, there would be D, and there would be thousands of people. Let's show it to Dawn. There we are.
Oh my God, look, ants, don't they?
Yeah, thousands of people in Trafalgar Square. Oh look, and here we are. And then they started. Oh yeah, I'll show you some more pictures in a minute. Yeah. The newspapers, listen to this, this is an interesting fact. The newspapers the next day, for the first time in 6 years, were allowed to even print the weather forecasts.
No way.
And that was silly. Why do you think that in 6 years they had not been allowed to print weather forecasts? You have any idea? Why wouldn't they be able to? Because every newspaper always has the weather, doesn't it? Tells you what the weather's going to be like. Why wouldn't they be able to do that in the previous 6 years? Any ideas? It doesn't matter if you don't. You can just say no. No. Okay. Well, it was that.
Sorry.
Oh, go on, Dawn. Have you got any ideas?
You mean while the war was going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I think because if it was real bad rain and stuff, it would make you feel even lower than what you already feel. I don't know.
Well, that's a good point. But it was actually because that information might have been useful or helpful to the enemy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
if it's foggy or whatever, you know, so they weren't allowed to.
That's more of an answer, but I just thought that might make people.
Yeah, useful to the enemy. Chris?
When you say it, it sounds quite simple. That does, don't it? It can make sense. That does completely.
No, but it hadn't occurred to me that they wouldn't be able to print. Come and have a look at these pictures, Chris.
I wanted to ask Christopher, I wonder what he thought those people were thinking when they got that announcement.
I know, well, we might explore that. It's just
the feeling.
I think normally I would do, but he's just, as you can see, he's not settled. Finish this bit off. Look at some more of these photographs now. These are all black and white photographs, so you can't see, but everyone got dressed up in red, white and blue. Why? Why red, white and blue? U-N-I-O-N, the Union. Come on. The Union. Was that J? Go on. A, C. Go on, go for the K. The Union Jack is red, white and blue. And that represents Britain, doesn't it?
Yes.
So that's our flag. We did something on flags the other week, didn't we? So that was that. So everyone got dressed in red, white and blue. And look, and they all started having street parties. That's what Dawn said they're going to have. Now have a look at this picture. We'll show it to Dawn in a minute. Look, this one here. There's the Union Jack. Yeah, you can touch it. Cross there, and they've got that draped over a table. And look, there's all the people. Look, have a good look. And the children there. Oh, and there's another street party there. There's all the people. Look. Now then, do you notice anything at all on that? Oh, look, and they've got flags all across the street and everything. Do you notice anything at all in that picture about the people? Do you notice who it mostly comprises of? I'll show it to Dawn quickly, the one that I'm referring to.
Put it up a bit, Sue, please. Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wonder why.
So, what do you notice about it? Anything? Mostly what? W O M
Yeah, I thought that.
E and mostly women. Why would that be? Why would that be? Well, I'll tell you, because the war had just finished. It would take time for the men to come home,
Yeah,
so they might still be, you know, away at war, or else a
healing.
lot of men had actually been killed in the war.
Yeah.
So, you know, people were celebrating the end of the war, but it was mostly the women that were doing it, and the children. Any men,
Children.
and older men, of course, or men, because there was something called national conscription, where if you were fit and healthy, then you had to go and fight.
Does America still do that?
Pardon?
I think, does America still do that? They used to make people, like here, you have a choice.
I'm not sure, to be not sure, to be honest with you. I'd have to look it up.
I think they do.
I don't know. They were doing it, weren't they? Because there was things like you were allowed. There were certain people that protested, weren't they, and didn't go, and there was a big fuss made about them. But I don't think so now. I don't know though. So anyway, just a few little facts here. By lunchtime, the West End of London, every single restaurant was filled to capacity. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Winston Churchill made a broadcast from Downing Street. Downing Street is what? H-O-M. It's home to the Prime Minister. Do you know what number? 1 and 10 Downing Street is where the Prime Minister lives. Even today, Prime Minister still lives at the same address. And let me find it. At 4 o'clock, everyone was gathering at Buckingham Palace, and the King and the Queen and Winston Churchill and the 2 princesses came out on the balcony. Let me show you. Can you touch Winston? He's in the middle. Winston Churchill on this picture. I know that one's quite. Which one's Winston? Touch him. In the middle there. Which one's the King? There. And the Queen. That's the Queen there. And then that one is Princess Elizabeth. And that one is Princess Margaret. Who went on to become our Queen? Which one of those? Who went on to become our Queen now, and she's still Queen? Princess Elizabeth. Shall we show Dawn?
Hey, Mads, that she's still the Queen now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Which one's Princess Elizabeth?
The one in the uniform. She was a volunteer, yeah.
Oh, she went to war as well?
No, she just volunteered in this country doing things, you know. She learned how to repair trucks and all sorts.
Oh my God.
She was really good. She was really, really hands-on, you know. Yeah. And this is a very famous photograph. Look at this one. Yeah, Chris, look at this photo. This is a famous one. This one, for some reason, it got published in newspapers all around the world. It was just a couple of our girls with a couple of American GIs in the mountains at Trafalgar Square.
Oh, look at the bikini. They all come back in fashion, ain't they?
Yeah. Oh, look here, we've actually got a colour photograph here as well. You do want some more food? Yeah. Sit with us. There we are. We can just finish this off and look at a couple more pictures. There we are. Look at those. Here's some pictures. Look, these ladies are all dancing, and there's the children watching them. And look, can you see? There's a big, someone's got a big picture of Winston Churchill up outside their house. There's the ladies dancing, and look, you can tell it's in old-fashioned days, because look, look, the road is made of cobblestones instead of tarmac. There we are, and there's another street party. Look, they're all lined up. All the ladies look quite old, really, on there. Let's show you. There we are. Ooh.
Oh, look. Oh, must have felt great.
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine that, the relief. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's what you call proper happy, that'll be, won't it?
Yeah. So, one last interesting thing. So after they came out on that balcony, I think they had to come out about 10 times during the day because everyone kept cheering and stuff. And then later on, the two princesses were allowed to sneak out. No one knew they were princesses. They were allowed to sneak out and go and mingle with the crowds and just enjoy the celebrations. And there's a headline in this paper here. It says, "Grandad danced with the Queen in Trafalgar Square, but no one believed him." Yeah.
How would they know? How would they not know that they're the princesses?
If you just sort of dress normally and not, surrounded by they were allowed to leave Buckingham Palace in secret and join the celebrations. The Queen herself would go on to speak about that evening, but it wasn't until the release of a film in 2015 that this man who said that he had danced with her was actually vindicated in the eyes of his family. They didn't really believe him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was only 15 when he danced with the Queen in Trafalgar Square.
What a lovely story. Yeah. I wonder if the Queen remembers. I remember
they were. When this film came out, there was a film called A Royal Night Out, and it was made about this. And they actually called this man to come and watch the premiere of the film. There he is.
Oh, how lovely.
So they traced who he was and they called him. There we are. Isn't that lovely story?
It's lovely when you're reading to things like that, isn't it? That's lovely what you just told me.
Yeah. So just a quick thing Dawn said. She said she was wondering what you thought people would have been feeling at that time, at that day. What do you think? What do you think? Try just lifting your elbow a bit there. Do it with a pencil. What's that? Is that N or S? I wasn't sure. Oh, all right, use your finger if you want. No, don't walk away. Come back. Walk away. We're interested to know what you think.
Okay, Chris, I was just wondering what
feeling
you got.
Felt happy, but would happy be a word to describe it, or come back? Can you think of a word to describe it? Maybe if you want, but put your leg down so that you can point accurately and lift your elbow. What do you think? Oh, it was S. S? Come on then. S. H. Okay. E. Oh, that's a good word. E. And R. Sheer. Oh, okay. Smooth. Just fine. Don't touch it by your hand. Sheer. Oh, go on. Yeah, that's it. Go on. You're happy. Come on. Keep it going. Sheer. O-V. Go on. E. R. Okay. Over. Over. Go on. Or maybe over what? Oh, J. That would make sense. After the J. T wouldn't make sense. Go on. O would. J-O. Go on, just finish it off and then we'll have a break. Go on, always finish. Tell yourself I can finish. J-O-Y-E-D. Overjoyed. That's better. Yeah, you've started off with sheer and then changed your mind to just overjoyed. That, yeah. It's hard to really find the words, isn't it?
Oh, there's so many words.
Exactly how you feel.
I'd feel like I could breathe again, I think.
Yeah. Wait a minute, Chris.
If you see me taking a deep breath, like, I'm not losing my temper or going, oh,